Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today we are finally getting around to doing our December reading wrap up. We have more than usual because we did a reading challenge in December with a couple of friends, and we both lost miserably. You read 18 books, I read 11 in December.
Yeah, it's quite an extensive list, even though we both lost.
Yeah, so we're not going to go too much into detail about what these books are about in this video. We do have them all on our Goodreads, but obviously just for times purposes, we got 29 books to talk about. So we don't want to go too much into detail. We're just kind of going to talk about what we read and what we thought.
And some ratings. I'm going to give you some quick ratings. Should we do should you 2?
Yeah, you start with 2 and then you'll probably end with 2. And then I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll start with 2. The first one I read was The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. I gave that one 3 stars. I've been wanting to get around to this one for a while. It was pretty good. Nothing really kind of crazy out of the ordinary. I wasn't a huge fan of the characters. I had a little bit of trouble relating to them, and I kind of felt like the magic system was kind of strange in this one, kind of a little bit overdone. I've kind of seen it too many places before, so for those reasons I just kind of gave it a 3. But it was enjoyable. Learn My Lesson, number 2 in the Wicked Villain series by Katie Robert, was the next one. As I said, Robert. It's gonna take me forever now to get that, control that, not put an S on there. I gave this one 2 stars. We've discussed this previously. I'm trying to get through the series to get all the tie-ins to the Dark Olympus series. I don't think I'm going to make it through. This one was not my vibe.
Yeah.
Not my vibe.
Tragic.
I just don't. No.
I keep teasing her because I'm you don't even like these books.
So this was, I mean, this was Meg, Hercules, and Hades, and I just I didn't like this Hades. I much preferred her other Hades in Neon Gods, and really didn't like Hercules. He really drove me crazy. And this one was not my vibe.
Speaking of not my vibe, the first book I read in December was Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This is one of the worst books I've ever read in my entire life. I could go into heavy detail. I won't. I think in another, it's our worst, no, it was our favorite books of 2022, and then we also did a few honorable mentions of our worst books of 2022. This was really bad. I hated this. I don't recommend it to anybody, and it's not even some people will tell you to read the triggers first. I don't even think you should do that. Just let's stop supporting this book, because it's really just, maybe dark romance isn't for me, but even if those darker elements were written well, they're just not. It's just not a good book.
I just think that's a different type. That's bordering past dark romance for.
But even all that aside, it just wasn't written well. It was just really bad.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So I didn't even rate it because I wish I could give it 0 stars. The only reason, in any other situation, I wouldn't have finished it, but since we were doing a reading challenge, I couldn't justify not finishing it because I had already dedicated time to it.
It counted. She had to.
But
just
it was really
bad. Bite the bullet.
It was really bad.
You like my little pun.
Bite the bullet. If you read it, you'll get it.
The next one I read was Galatea by Madeline Miller. I hope I said that right. I'm just, you know what, saying it with confidence from now on. That's how it's said. This one was really, really good. This was probably one of my favorite reads from this month. 5 stars. You also had this one.
Yeah, the next one I read was also Galatea. I loved The Song of Achilles, and I love this one as well. Song of Achilles is one of my all-time favorite books, so it doesn't quite hold that spot in my heart, but I'd still give it 5 stars, and I'm really picky with my 5-star ratings. I love this one. It was very good. She's a fantastic writer.
Yeah, she writes just really beautifully, and I loved this interpretation because it was just so much. It was so powerful, and I just
and very timely too.
Oh, so timely.
Yeah, it's a short story, so it was a very quick read, but it was incredible.
It's just such a beautiful representation of like women empowerment. Honestly, I loved the ending too.
Yeah,
so powerful. Do you want me to go next again?
Yeah, do too.
Okay. Next one I read was Still Missing by Chevy Stevens, which I've talked a little bit about. She's talked a little bit about. Gave that one 5 stars. It's a tougher read, but it's very good. It's definitely one that's got some trigger warnings. It's hard to put down, but it's also hard to get through. Definitely have to take some breaks from it.
Not hard to get through in the sense that it's like boring, but in the sense that it's like very, very, very difficult. Like it was making me sick to my stomach at some point. It deals with some tougher topics.
Mad, like really mad. So yeah, it's definitely but it's worth the read. It's really good.
It's written so well.
The next one that I read was, I don't know, 16, 17 in the Anita Blake series, Flirt, by Laurel K. Hamilton. I was really missing these characters. I really wanted to get back to them, and I was not disappointed. I really, really enjoyed this one. This one I gave 4 stars. And we got a little bit back into doing some of her necromancy and doing kind of a case. And I had a lot of fun with this one. It was a nice little visiting the characters.
Yeah. Like, it's like you're checking in with your friends.
Yeah, just like seeing what they're up to.
Yeah.
I love it.
Next one I read was Scarred by Emily McIntyre. Hooked was her first one, and I liked it. Wasn't my favorite, but I liked it enough to continue with this, the series. And I had actually heard that Scarred was better than Hooked, and I could not disagree more. I really didn't enjoy this one. Stylistically, I just don't think it was my taste. The political world was super strange to me because it was very like medieval-esque, but it was still more modern. If that's, I don't even know if I'm describing that right, but it was just strange. And I found it really boring, and I didn't really feel the connections with the characters, and it was kind of like a drag to get through it. So I think I gave it 2 stars. It had some like redeeming moments where I felt like, oh, okay, maybe I'm getting into it, and then it just kind of fell flat. I don't know that I'll be continuing with the series because this one was just not great for me. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I had high hopes.
I'm sorry. The next one that I read was These Things Hidden by Heather Gudenkauf. I love everything that I read by Heather Gudenkauf. This one was another 4-star read. She always keeps me on the edge of my seat. It's always like mystery, suspense. She always keeps me guessing. It's always really interesting. Her plots are always really intriguing. I just love anything she writes. I actually have another one that I'm listening to right now. And then I read A Spot of Trouble by Terry Wilson. This one was #1 in the Turtle Beach series. I give this one 4 stars. This one was really, really cute and like really fun for like a beach read. It was about like 2 people meeting because of their Dalmatians. Aww. Like a confusing moment. I always
forget Dalmatians exist.
Like she accidentally mistook his Dalmatian for her Dalmatian.
Oh, that's cute.
And he's like the new firefighter in town, and it's a very small town, Turtle Beach. It was just, I mean, I knew how it was gonna, go. And she like teaches yoga at this, like at the retirement home, and like it was just really cute.
That's adorable.
It was just adorable. And I loved the dogs. The dogs became like instant best friends. Even though these 2 were like constantly bickering, the dogs were like best friends.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was so cute.
That's adorable. Next one I read was Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. This one was not, I'm just now realizing I didn't have a great reading month. This one wasn't a winner for me either. I didn't hate it. It felt very formulaic to me, and I was not at all surprised by like the big twist, and it was just sort of, just wasn't my thing. And that's okay. A lot of people liked it, but not everybody's gonna like everything. True. It was just sort of like, I was like going through the motions because I felt like the author was just kind of going through the motions in the book.
That's true. That's fair. The next one I was really excited about. I read Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Ernshaw. Definitely 5 stars for me. I loved this. I was really worried because, especially with previous things like reimaginings or retellings, I get really nervous, but this was exactly what I needed. It was a new story. It was continuing The Nightmare Before Christmas, but with Sally, and it still held that beautiful, like, children aspect, but it was a young adult book.
Okay.
And in it, we got more of Sally's story, and we got to continue after we ended The Nightmare Before Christmas. And then in this one, we got to see inside all of the other worlds, like inside all of those other trees, which I've wondered since I was a little girl what all those other worlds look like. I don't know about anybody else who's watched the movie, but I've died to see what like they looked like and what was inside them. So that was just like the highlight of it for me.
Love.
So absolutely loved it. The next one for me was The Bookstore Sisters by Alice Hoffman. I gave this one 4 stars. It was a little short story, little short guy. I love anything Alice Hoffman writes. She's the author of Practical Magic.
Okay.
I loved this one. Absolutely loved this one. And it's a quick read. It didn't take me long at all. It's about 2 sisters, obviously, the Bookstore Sisters. They've kind of lost their way. My family owns a bookstore. And they kind of get back together to save the bookstore. It was really, really sweet.
That's cute.
Love it. Absolutely.
Next one I read was Twisted Love by Anna Huang, I think is how you say it. This one has gotten a ton of hype on BookTok. I liked it. It was enjoyable enough. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It's that like forced proximity trope, basically, because they like her brother moves away and like asks his friend to keep an eye on her, and he takes it very seriously and moves in like the next duplex over from her or a townhouse or whatever. It was the brother's townhouse, and he just like moves in when the brother goes. He's going on something for like medical school to a different country, and like taking care of her very seriously. It was a little too much alpha male for my current tastes. If Hannah from 5 years ago had read this, I would have been all over this book.
Yeah.
All over it.
Which makes sense to why it's all over BookTok.
Yes.
I mean,
but for like Hannah now, it was a little too much, a little too in your face. But I really liked the main character, which almost never happens. She was really fun and like quirky, and she very much also thought that this man was too much of an alpha male, which I loved.
Also appreciate that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often.
And there is some aspects of the book that I wasn't expecting, like some darker aspects, things that I don't want to spoil anything, but like things that go on with her family. And yeah, I actually ended up not hating it as much as I thought. As soon as I like saw how much of an alpha male he was, I was like, oh fuck this book, I'm not gonna like it. But then I ended up not hating it, and so I gave it 3.5 stars, which is a pretty normal rating for me. That means I like enjoyed it. Wasn't one of my favorites, but enjoyed it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I do want us to read it.
You should.
See what I think.
It was enjoyable. Yeah.
So, this next one was also a little short story, Misconception by Liv Constantine. 5 stars. Okay, listen. This one swung me for a loop, okay? Misconception.
Okay.
You ever wonder, you know, like switched at birth? You ever scared about that?
No.
Okay, there's a lot of people that are, okay?
I look a lot like my parents, so I'm not concerned. But
Right, okay, but there's a lot of people that are concerned that that could happen, right? That their baby could be switched at birth.
That's true. Yeah.
You ever think about, like, them switching embryos?
I have actually thought about that before. That's so easy to happen.
So, like, misconception?
Oh.
It was some
It's like that
messed
Netflix
up
thing.
stuff.
Our Father.
Yes. However, this one was intentional.
So was Our Father.
So,
Yeah. Interesting. So they intentionally get somebody pregnant with somebody else's embryo? Interesting. Is it like a thriller? Oh.
You have Audible, right?
Yeah.
It's included in your subscription.
I'm definitely going to have to read that one. That sounds really interesting. Next one I read was A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I love a Hades and Persephone retelling. I will always pick it up. No matter how trashy it sounds, I will always pick it up.
Same.
I have to say, I don't remember a ton of details. I'm just reading about it real quick.
I read 18 books this month. I'm struggling every single time.
Right. This one is, I also read another Hades and Persephone retelling in December though, so I'm trying to like not mix the two of them up. This one is more modern, which I didn't hate. It's about Persephone who moves to a different city for college, and she is, I mean, still her mother's daughter. Like, her mother is still all over her. Like, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to work. Like, you're my daughter, whatever. But she wants to. She wants to go to college. And she's a journalist. She's a journalist. Okay, this is the one. She's a journalist, and she unknowingly sort of ends up in a contract with Hades. And the contract is that she has to create life in the underworld. And the interesting thing about this version of Persephone is she has like a black thumb. Isn't that what they call it, where she can't grow anything?
Yes.
Yeah. So she has to create life in the underworld, but she can't grow anything. And so it's a whole thing. And I liked that aspect of it. And I actually once again, I didn't hate this book. I gave this one 3.5 stars too. There are, of course, issues that I had with it. Of course. I don't know that I'll read the rest of the series, but I love a Hades and Persephone retelling. And I did have fun reading
Now,
this.
do you think you'll read the one that's like Hades?
His point of view?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I'm one of those people who loves that kind of stuff too.
I know.
People get mad when they like release a new book, but it's just the book from the man's point of view. I love that.
His is like a whole series.
I know. But the thing is because it's
called the Hades Saga.
Because it's so modern, I don't know that I want to continue on with that storyline, if that makes sense. Like towards the end, there's a lot of like issues with like paparazzi and stuff, and I'm like, I don't care about that version of it.
True.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I have that, and I still haven't read it. I mean, story of my life. Okay. So the next one,
you should do 2 more probably.
Okay, that's
a few more.
I will do 2. The next one I read was The Butcher and the Wren. Now, I gave this one 4 stars. I think that this one had like some mixed reviews, and I think maybe it's because of the way the ending happened. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed this book a lot, and I think it's more like suspense horror, and I think it's because of the way the ending was like not wrapped up neatly, not like a happy-go-lucky ending, you know, like. But I like a fucked up ending.
I do too.
I like an open ending, a fucked up ending. Like, I live for those type of books. So, like, I liked that about it. I was like, oh, all right, okay. So, I thought it was good.
That's all that matters is your opinion.
Honestly, that's what you're all here for. Clearly. The next one is Hooked.
Yeah.
Natalie McIntyre.
Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah, I give it 3 stars.
Okay. Enjoyable.
So, it's enjoyable. However, I did have some issues with it.
Yeah.
I did. So some parts were really good and some parts were really bad. And it was strange to me because it was almost like at certain parts I was reading 2 different books.
Yeah. It's a very different book than you think it's going to be.
Yeah, so it was very, very weird at some parts. It was like, especially going into it, I was really engaged and I thought it was really good up until almost the time that they meet and start talking to each other.
Okay.
Because then it's like when they're alone and they start having conversations, the dialogue is what really takes me out of it. Because their dialogue just doesn't match. It's very, it's very immature. for their age. And like, there's just no depth or reasoning.
I find her very immature. Which of course she's younger than him, but I find her, I think I gave it 3 stars too.
Yeah, so it was like, and then towards the end it started to get better, and it was, I don't know. I just, at parts I just felt like
the conflict between them. That was like the redeeming thing for me, was the conflict between them. But then I feel like it was wrapped up too quickly. Yeah.
After the whole, I don't want to spoil anything, but after
the things that man does to her, and she's like,
and she just gets over it so quickly, and I was like, yeah, that's not okay.
No. Yeah.
That's not okay. All right, Belle.
Right?
We got some Stockholm syndrome here.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have some issues with it, but overall it was enjoyable.
Next book I read was a reread, and it completed my reread of the Twilight Saga. It was Breaking Dawn. Listen.
Who would have thunk it?
Listen, we all know that I'm a Twilight girly. Okay?
Through and through.
So I get to criticize it. I'm allowed. I hate the Jacob point of views. I hate it. They drive me fucking crazy. And every time I reread this, I like almost forget about them. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. I have to be inside his brain.
Honestly, until you said that right now, I forgot about them.
It's the only thing worse than Edward's inner monologue is Jacob's inner monologue. It's painful. It's painful. I will never forgive Stephanie Meyer for the baby love with my poor sweet Jacob. Other than that though, once again, I just find this book entertaining, especially after Bella is turned. And they have that conflict with the Volturi, and you get to meet all these other vampires, with all these other gifts. Like, that's the entertaining part to me.
I still think it is so entertaining when Bella and Edward don't agree.
Really? I don't find that entertaining.
I do.
Because they still just think the other one walks on water.
Yes,
so
but
it's
still,
like,
I love that little first crack. And then, and everybody's just flipping sides.
you know.
Rosalie suddenly is doting on Bella.
Oh, you're talking about when she's pregnant?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Alice can't be around Bella because the baby is a fucking thing.
And Emmett's once again just there.
Emmett?
I love my man's Emmett. He's just along for the ride.
Exists.
He has no opinions.
None. He's literally just muscle.
Yeah.
Well, my next one was A Worthy Opponent. Wiccan Villains #3 by Katie Robert. I loved this one.
Okay, you liked a Katie Robert book. Good.
Yes, it was my favorite. I gave it, I think, 4 stars, right? 4 stars. I really, really, really liked this one. Like, it was my favorite. I can stop now.
Right? You're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
With that series, at least. I really don't think I can continue on. I don't think there's any more tie-ins. And there might be. I'm willing to let it go.
Yeah.
But I really did like this one. Like, I enjoyed Hook and Tink.
Okay, that's who it was.
But see, here's the thing, is the other characters who I think are going to be the rest of the books, I'm pretty sure, just by the names, some of them were brought in during this book and some of the others, and I don't care enough about any of them.
That's fair.
So I think I'm just
You're just going to be done.
Done.
That's okay.
And then the next one was The Family Game by Catherine Steadman, which I gave 4 stars. Liked this one. Really, really liked this one. It's a suspense. It's literally just what it's called, The Family Game. Pretty much your... Did you see that movie or the trailer for the movie where, like, she comes into this new... I think it's like she goes over to England or something, and like it's like suddenly she's part of the wedding. And then it's like, okay, I don't know. I think I'm mixing 2 movies together, to be honest. But
You're talking about the one where she gets married to the guy and they make her play this like game?
yes.
Yeah. And it's like a horror movie.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty much.
I don't think there's
like,
anything about her going to England though.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm mixing.
But maybe
2
maybe I'm wrong.
I think I'm mixing 2 movies,
Okay.
to be honest, because I think that's also like there's one that she goes to England and like she has to play this game and she doesn't get out or whatever. But I don't think it's a wedding one. Anyway, that's what this book reminded me of, the family game. Like, she is getting married into this family, and she meets the family, and then she starts to uncover some of their secrets, and then they're like, she's like a year or two in, and she's finally invited to something at their like estate, and he keeps her away from their family as much as possible, and like then it's like a family game.
Next one I want to talk about was A Court of Frost and Starlight, because listen, I had only read this one once prior, and it was Christmas, so I had to read the Christmas special of the ACOTAR books. I love this book.
I do too.
Every time I talk about it, I know people are like, it wasn't necessary. I disagree. I feel like it was.
It was.
I enjoy this one.
I needed it.
The sex scene in this one is one of my favorite ACOTAR sex scenes ever.
I was just gonna say, literally one of my favorites. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. It's not very spicy. Like, there's not a lot of sex scenes, but the sex scene that's in it is very good.
Yeah. Hands down.
Yeah. It's not like Silver Flames where there's like hella sex scenes.
No.
There's really only one that I can think of, and it's the good one.
What she said. The next one that I read was The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. Yeah, this one 5 stars.
Oh my god, really?
Yes.
This one blew up on Book Talk as well.
I really, really liked it. So,
is this one spicy?
Little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
It doesn't look like it would be, but
it doesn't look like it would be, but it is a little bit spicy.
Okay.
Also, I would like to say that there is the book The Hating Game by Sally Thorne that was really, really popular, and I didn't like it, like at all. This is what The Hating Game should have been.
The Hating Game wishes she was
this is what this had the aspects of The Hating Game which I would have liked. Like, this is it done correctly. So I've also noticed people who liked The Hating Game did not like this one, and vice versa. I've seen it in the reviews that people who loved The Hating Game did not like this one, and vice versa. So I'm one of those people. I did not like The Hating Game at all. I loved this one.
Interesting.
So whatever.
Next one I'm going to talk about was absolutely a winner in my book, and that was One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was the second book I've read by her, and both of them have been 5-star reads for me, which is no surprise. I know people love her, but the two that I read by her are not her more popular ones. This one was really great. It's kind of about a woman who whose husband goes missing, and she moves on and ends up falling in love with somebody that she knew from high school, and then her husband comes back. And it's her kind of trying to navigate that, and it's also everybody trying to move on from trauma that they've experienced, and her trying to move on from the trauma of losing her husband, and now he's back, and then him trying to move on from the trauma of what happened while he was gone, and you know, it was a lot, but it was honestly like, and I love how in her books she writes about women who are older than are typically written about, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, this woman's like in her 30s, and I liked that. I liked that she was a more like established woman who like knew what she wanted, and yet her world was turned upside down, and she had to think about like, do I be that version of me or this version of me, and like which one exists anymore, and it was really great.
I agree.
Yeah.
That one I think I'm gonna have to read pretty soon.
You do have to read
because
it.
It keeps orbiting me.
What do you mean by that?
Like everywhere I turn, it's just there.
You have to read it. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to. Speaking of, the next one I read, finishing out my journey, was A Court of Silver Flames. You know, I just get so much more from this book every time. I was just spilling theories and more things to her because
I feel like I need to reread this one too. I've only read it once.
I catch more things.
Sarah books you have to read more than once because you will catch new things every time.
Literally every single time.
Every time.
Every time. Every single time. And am convinced that like half of me is Feyre and half of me is Nesta. Not the main part though.
Mm-hmm. You know what I have a theory about is like, you know, obviously Nesta is one of those characters that like some people really love her and some people really don't. I feel like the people who love her relate to her, and the people who don't like her have had a Nesta in their life, so they know what Feyre feels like.
So I think you're hitting the nail right on the head.
Because I am more of a Feyre, and I know what it feels like to have a Nesta in your life, and that's why I really don't love her.
So I am also more of a Feyre.
Mm-hmm. But you've had your moments.
Well,
you've had your Nesta moments.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I think. I think my thing is that I have my trauma
Mm-hmm.
and how hard I am on myself
Mm-hmm.
is I can relate to Nesta more that way.
Mm-hmm. Feyre's hard on herself too.
She is,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not as reasonable as
I see.
Feyre
Okay.
with that.
Yeah.
I can't really be talked out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll listen, but I'm more stubborn with, like, as Nesta, where I'll still think the same way about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can see both sides.
Yeah, I get that. And I can see both sides too, because I can get how if you relate to Nesta, how it might feel like really empowering, I guess, to like read about a character like her and that deals with their trauma the same way that you do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like in my eyes, like trauma does not excuse her behavior.
It doesn't.
And we don't really get, we get like at the end her doing, it's like supposed to be her redemption arc, and she like does a good thing and she apologizes, and to me I'm like, so we're just all gonna move on, like. So I also get both sides, but I just think because I have been a Feyre to a Nesta, like I have been the punching bag, that I just, you know what I mean?
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate tangent, but that was just a theory that I have. Like,
No,
I really love her, really relate to her, and that's good. I'm glad that you guys have her, but there are reasons why,
No, I
still love
completely,
her.
because there's also somebody else that I know that has also, I see the connection as well.
Yeah.
And I don't really think I've had, like, a Nesta
Mm-hmm.
in my life. I think I relate more, just on the trauma level.
Yeah.
And I also love that one so much because of Emery and Gwyn and the Valkyrie.
I love that part of it too.
Like that coming back
Mm-hmm.
and like taking your life back, even from their stories as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like that aspect is very empowering.
for sure. Next one I'm going to read is the one that I kept not wanting to mix the other Hades and Persephone retelling up with, and it's The Dark King. This one I picked up because we read the synopsis and we were like, oh, so this is a Akamath fanfic. And in a lot of ways it kind of was. There's the Dark King, and then he's got like two friends that are like brothers to him that like fuck with him, and I'm like, oh great. But it's very different in a lot of ways too. Our main character, who she's endearing, but she's kind of irritating too, if that makes sense. She's a Southern belle, so she's got kind of like that personality. She's super bubbly. It was a bit much for me sometimes. But she wins a free trip to Vegas, just to stay in this hotel, and goes to this club that's like in the hotel and the club. I think they're both owned by, what the fuck is his name? Caden. They're both owned by Caden. Part of it takes place in like our world, and then there's also like the fairy world where they're from. So they are fae, but they have kind of taken over our world, especially Vegas. Like the fae pretty much own like all of Vegas, and that's how they make their money, off of humans who like go there and like spend money there. And basically Caden and our main character Bryn.
I'm sorry, what? Wait, I'm sorry. What nonsense did you just spill me?
They own like these clubs and these bars.
So the Fae have taken over our land.
Vegas, really. They own a lot of Vegas, and that's how they make their money, is off of humans coming there to spend money. And then
Out of
Bryn
all things,
and I
that's
know,
what they're...
I know.
Anyway.
Bryn and Caden go out, and Caden finds her very intriguing, and they get drunk, and they wake up in the same bed the next day. Okay, classic Vegas story. Also classic Vegas story, they find out that they got married the night before. Neither of them remembers getting
He's
married.
Fae.
Correct. Neither of them remember getting married.
I just want to point out that my past statement still stands.
Yeah. And so there's like this whole thing though where something with like the Fae, once they're married or mated or whatever, they can't be away from their spouse, otherwise it like literally kills them. Like, so he like gets on a plane and they start like going up, and the farther he gets away from her, like his body starts to shut down. Like he's like in pain. It's stupid, I know. So then that's how he ends up like that's why they capture her, so that they can stay close, so that Caden doesn't die. They're like trying to find a way out of it, and that's where the story kind of takes off. It wasn't great. I would probably give it like, I don't think I rated it. No, I gave it 3 stars. I would probably say it's more of a 2.5 star. It wasn't great. It wasn't like I wasn't dragging myself through it, but like I don't know that I'd recommend it, if that makes sense. It's real stupid. Like the premise is real stupid.
So really ridiculous.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I mean,
Listen,
it would be.
but was I entertained? Yes.
Right. I know, I get it. But like, I'm just Fae.
I know.
Vegas and
There's just a whole lot going on.
There's just a whole lot.
There's a whole lot.
It would be ridiculous alone, but like add the Fae aspect to it. I'm like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, I skipped one.
You did?
Yeah, I skipped Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. I can't do that.
That's mean.
That's Bright Falls #2 by Ashley Heron Blake. I gave this one 4 stars. I was really, really excited for this one. I liked it a lot.
Good.
Yeah, it was redeeming, because let me tell you, I was scared for this one because I did not care for Astrid in the first one.
Okay.
But redeeming.
Okay.
Redeeming. I liked it.
Last one I read, last book of the year, unfortunately. I don't like that was my last book of 2022. Was one that we said we were going to read for a book babble. She's finishing it right now. It's Pestilence. We're doing a whole book babble on it, so I'm not going to say much. All I'm going to say is it was trash. It was a very bad book.
So the next one I read, which was the last of the year, was The Getaway by Greer Hendricks. I gave that one 5 stars. This was another little short story.
Okay.
On Audible.
Okay.
Now, Greer Hendricks usually writes with Sarah Pekkanen.
Correct.
So this was just Greer.
Okay.
Just Greer. I really liked this one.
Yeah.
This was like she finds this little brochure about like this little getaway. It's supposed to be like a yoga retreat or something, and she's been having a really bad time lately with work, and she just like broke up with her boyfriend, and she's just going through it, right? So she decides she's gonna go ahead and go to this yoga retreat, right? Not a yoga retreat, guys. Not a yoga retreat.
Could have told you that.
Right? Yeah, well, like, we seen this coming. Like, but what it actually was really just shocked me.
Okay.
Honestly. I thought the entire time, like, it's just gonna be some crazy person, right? It's whatever it is, it's not gonna be good, right? So much worse. So much worse than I thought. So much crazier than I thought. Okay. And it did not take me long to get through it. So I highly recommend it.
Damn. We had very different last books.
Yeah. And mine was great.
It was so fucking bad. It was so bad.
Don't say anymore. We're gonna do...
I do feel like I need to say, though, in this video, because I trash talked Haunting Adeline, I hated Pestilence more than I hated Haunting Adeline. For different reasons.
which you will find out in a coming video. So make sure you keep an eye out for our book babble. Because I also have opinions.
Yeah. And we're not even gonna say like, go read this one before you watch this. Nobody should read that book.
Don't.
Anyway,
I'll get off my pedestal.
yeah.
Woo. Anyways, so that's what we read for the last month of the year. Not bad. I'm so proud that I beat my last year's goal, which was well, last year when I did a reading challenge, because I did this last year with Santana, and I read 12 books. So this year I read 18.
I'm happy with what I did because I only needed 11 books to get to my reading goal, so that was really my main goal, was to read 11 books, and I did.
And I also made my reading goal this year as well. I read 109 books this year.
In 2022? I read 60, which was my goal. And I needed, I was at 49 at the beginning of December, so I needed 11 to get to 60, and I read 11.
We did it.
There was a couple of those books that I wish I hadn't read, but I'm glad that I got to my goal. I can appreciate them for what they were.
Yeah.
They helped me get to my goal.
There we go. All right. So comment down below and hit that like button. Subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you know when we post next.